Cancer, this is your April 2024 soul story. If you've got a sun, rising or moon in the sign, this might resonate for you. And it's Romy, so thank you so much for joining me on the channel. We're going to open up this month with the energy of the Knight of Cups, and there's an accelerated feeling about April that's bringing an intensity with it, but it can really be a motivating and exhilarating experience if you'll allow it. Now, you are building a bridge or creating a bridge towards something that you want. I feel like you're striving for better in April. And, you know, the Knight of Cups tells me that there's also a whole flow of like bright ideas and inspiration, especially in the areas that you felt a little bit blocked or lackluster. So something igniting and really feeling like the desire or the wherewithal to get moving. We do need to be mindful that Mercury is stationing retrograde in Aries on the 1st of the month, so it's a little bit of a spanner in the works, because we can get somewhat frustrated that we've got all the ideas, we feel like we're ready, and then, there's this kind of slowdown or this sort of scrambled energy that can prevent us from being able to clearly communicate or articulate what it is that we're trying to achieve, or indeed feel like people are on board. That said, I think that there's pieces from the past that are going to come back and be incredibly important, actually, by way of helping you realize that they still hold value. And I think that's going to enable you to make something better, improve it in some way as a result of what you realize and what you are given the opportunity to reflect upon. So the 4th of the month sees Venus shifting into Aries, and we do become incredibly passionate. That Knight of Cups, is stepping forth in all areas through your life in April, and you have that intensity, that the cardinal energy of Aries, aligns with you beautifully. And I think there is a realization that it's like, okay, now or never, time isn't refundable. You want to use it wisely. And, I think you're acutely aware, Cancer, of, perhaps the areas in your life that still hold this frequency of lack. But what you're being invited to put your attention towards is the things that you have an abundance of, because that's going to help shine a light on something incredibly important in April. And I think you have a really interesting offer that's also coming by way of this Knight of Cups, this offer or invitation. It might feel to you that it still isn't quite as tangible as you would like it to be. Like you're kind of looking for a little bit more to feel a bit more confident around things. And you may even have this sense of like, well, yeah, that looks great on paper, but it also looks like a lot of hard work to achieve or to attain. That said, I think you're kind of up for the challenge in some way, and there is something about being able to bring this courage and confidence in April. And I do think you will have the confidence when the time comes to know what to say and how to act, because the universe is trying to move you forward. And if you are veering off track, if you are not where you're meant to be, then you are going to feel it quite powerfully. We've got this total solar eclipse in Aries coming in on the 8th, and there's this karmic clearance energy with this. And, we're setting off in a new direction. Now, the 10 of Wands also tells me that what we've been investing in, what we've devoted our time, energy, and attention towards, has created and built something of desire for you. Like it has shaped an experience, whether it's just like lessons learned, the growth that's come from it, or actually that you're able to see your progress in quite a meaningful way in the month of April. So it's not a time to give up, because you're almost at the point of being able to move on from that experience. And it's a reminder that, our stability is continuously being tested right now. And if you can reflect on, what it is that you're being directed towards by the universe at the moment, and really realize that you have had ample opportunity to Understand how you're meant to evolve and grow from it, and give yourself permission to step forth with that new learned experience. Then quickly you're going to be able to put some of these wands down, and you're going to start to feel and see how you can be free of the burden or the heaviness that has, felt like it's prevailed, through your path in the last few weeks and months. Now, I think that there's an incredibly unexpected air throughout the month of April. We've got Daughter of Staffs, Page of Wands coming through here. And I think that you need to be prepared for things to come in incredibly rapidly and in a way that feels maybe a little bit blindsided, but at the same time creates new stimulating conversation and thoughts. Now, we're in 10th house energy with Aries season for you, Cancer. So this is a time where you're also going to be firmly considering, things about your work and your career, your sense of purpose. And because your drive is going to be activated in a new way, there is this sense of when things do come up, even if they're quite surprising, you're going to have the capacity to be able to say, well, you know what, I'm going to make the best of this. Because actually I was already kind of thinking along those lines, or I was already asking for a change or looking for some inspiration. So it might come about in a way that wasn't necessarily anticipated, but at the same time, I think, you have an opportunity here to explore something very different. And I suppose we almost need to, at times through the month of April, Cancer, kind of sit back and watch how fate is going to deal a new hand for us. Because between the eclipse and then this rare conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus and Taurus coming in on the 20th, there's set to see some twists and turns and surprises that, are definitely going to have you looking toward new horizons, okay? There's also a sense of you having an incredibly important conversation following some sense of an offer or an invitation that I see kind of coming through for you. And, you may feel like, yeah, well, we're not quite there yet. That's sort of what I'm picking up. But what does there represent to you? The universe is asking you to get clear on this because it's about time and perseverance. And with that, I think that you can absolutely have the wherewithal to bring that experience into your reality. Now, the Ace of Cups coming through here is also saying, remember, because there's a capacity to sort of burn out quite strongly through the month of April with the intensity from an astrological forecast, with that Aries fire energy. We want to get going, we want to get moving. In some ways, the retrograde of Mercury can be beneficial and just sort of slowing us down so that we remember that we have to keep nourishing ourselves. We have to keep ensuring that, what we are asking of others, what we are showing up and expecting to kind of materialize for us, that we're in a receptive place to be able to be seeing it clearly. Because what happens is if we become over depleted, or if we're just giving too much, or if we've burnt out, then it shows up and there's a bit of a lackluster response from you, or it's just like, yeah, okay, it's like I've wanted it, it's here, but now honestly I'm so tired, like I'm not even interested in kind of showing up for this or being present for this. And you can also feel like you're a little bit battered around in the storms. I think some of the eclipse energies create that destabilizing feeling beneath our feet. And so the way to counter that is to ensure, Ace of Cups says, what am I doing for myself to kind of try to help maintain the balance that I need in order that I can show up as this best version of myself. And that might mean I need to withdraw or say no to something. And I kind of feel like April's a month where you are going to want to say no more than you're going to want to say yes. And that's not a negative. That's actually just a demonstration of you having some really strong boundaries and clear shifting of your priorities through the course of the month as well. So the sun's shifting into Taurus on the 19th, coming into your 11th house. And, this is where we get really lit up with what's going to transpire around this Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. So last time in Taurus, 1941. set to have some interesting twists and turns from a financial perspective, bit of a roller coaster energy. So, you might have some very pleasant surprises or opportunities that are being presented to you. There's a strong emphasis around online, around technology, around groups, communities, friendships. So these surprises, things that might be wanting your attention and kind of landing squarely in front of you, needing to be addressed, needing to be acknowledged, coming from these areas. Remember, there could be a little turbulence before things smooth themselves out. And again, it doesn't mean that what comes through, is wanting to make things worse for you. It's just, in a way, I suppose, testing you, testing where your limits are, because what we're trying to do is break free from those limitations. And I think everything about the month of April is trying to allow for a greater degree of freedom. Okay, and if you can kind of keep that in your mind as well, that's what's sort of underpinning this experience. So your Seven of Coins here has you reflective and taking stock. You have the support, like you're leaning against this tree, and the tree has a maturity, a wisdom, and a sense of being able to help you weather any storm or weather any situation that just feels like, whoa, that's too much. I just need to take a step back and some time out. At the same time, like, I do think that you have realistic conversations that are going to get you thinking in a really interesting way about, wow, I never kind of considered that for myself, or I never really looked at the future in that way. So whether this shows up in your relationships as a result of kind of what's going on within the community, your friendships, or indeed with work, which I have a strong kind of feeling for some of you will be the case in April, be as open-minded as you can be, because I think the universe wants to show you like what can be possible if you'll just kind of stretch your imagination a little bit. And you might not know the how of like the ways in which all of that can come together, but if it gets you motivated, and if you start feeling that kind of butterflies in your belly feeling, and it might have been some time before you kind of had that excitement or that exhilarating feeling, let that play out, and don't allow any frustration to kind of kibosh things. Like, it just feels, at some moments through the month, it's like one step forward, like you feel amazing, motivated, inspired, you're on it, and then the next minute it's just like, oh no, that wasn't the right idea, or that's not what I want anymore. So there's quite a changeable experience for you through April, and that's just because I feel like these energies are hitting you from all angles, and at times can leave you feeling a little bit unsettled. Nonetheless, by the time you get to the end of the month, I think there's some very clear conclusions that you will arrive at. Now, the Juno asteroid goddess is stationing direct in Virgo right after that conjunction on the 21st. Has been retrograde since the 12th of January, in Virgo since October 23, Cancer. And remember, Juno retrograde was having us go back over, poring over relationships, contracts, legal agreements, and really, feeling a bit unhappy about certain terms and wanting to find a way to improve things. And now we have an opportunity to come to the table and make that a reality. Five of Swords says that, we might come up against some sort of almost like non-negotiables, so you might have got that clarity about what you want. Remember, people react to your needs the way they react to their own. So when they can't cater to what they themselves need, then they're not going to be in a position to handle what you're asking for. So keep that in mind. You do have some sense of like a setback or a situation that's going to require a little bit more thought in order to navigate and work around. Nonetheless, this bridge that I keep being drawn back to with the Knight of Cups tells me that, the vision is there. It's just that, we're going to have to navigate through some more turbulent water until we find an outcome that feels satisfying, I think, for you. And because there's so much in flux through the month of April, it might also feel just a little bit difficult, because it is this feeling of one step forward, two steps back, and then new ideas coming in and new things to consider. And so, you know, there's a bit of a frenzied kind of chaotic feeling, but there's huge amounts of growth and opportunity that also land here. So what I don't want is for you to get caught up in any situation that feels a bit disappointing or kind of pulls you down, and really feel that that is a reflection of where this can go or what is going to end up happening at the next stage for you, because far from it. I think this is just one of these roadblocks that you're absolutely meant to just kind of say, okay, I'm looking at you right in the eye, I see you, I'm going to find a way through this, because I know that bigger picture for me is worthwhile, and I'm going to keep going because I've come this far. And I think that phrase needs to also be repeated, you know, to yourself consistently throughout the month. It's like, I have come this far. You know, sometimes when we choose something or someone, there's then thousands of moments that will transpire following that, where we have to give ourselves permission to keep choosing it. You know, we constantly have an option to check out, to let go, to move away. And sometimes it's the harder thing to stay. You know, it demands that patience, that honesty, that accountability. And I think there's some sort of a situation for you in the month of April that's going to put you in that kind of position, where you're going to have to say, you know, do I want to keep choosing this? Do I want to keep choosing this? Now, we have a full moon in fellow water sign Scorpio happening on the 23rd of the month. And there's something in and around that energy that's going to be really beneficial, because I think it brings some truths to light. It will make for some intense conversations, but it will also put you in a place where what you have to say is incredibly compelling. Okay, and I think that you have this sort of magnetism, you know, around that time. And so there's an attraction to kind of what you are presenting, what you're sharing, what you are revealing, if you like. Nonetheless, it's worth noting that, you know, what comes to light also means that something needs to be fundamentally addressed. If it isn't, and there's an awareness of like, oh yeah, okay, you know, I'll get to that, or I'll deal with that, that's when it's going to start to get bigger and bigger and cause more issues down the line. So I think the desire is also to want to sort of deal with something quite quickly and sharply. And you can do that. And this is why I feel like you've got the confidence in the month of April to know what to say and how to act at the exact right moment. So put that belief and sort of stamp that throughout your, you know, your intentions in April. Mercury stations direct from the 25th, so that again will help kind of clear up any miscommunication, and also help you to bring these pieces from the past and kind of make sense of them and their value and how you want to integrate them. And I think that's going to be quite a turning point for you as we make our way toward the end of the month. We're going to have Venus shifting into Taurus on the 29th and Mars into Aries on the 30th. Both of these planets now comfortably in signs that they rule, which makes for conversations that feel energetic, conversations that feel like we're where we're supposed to be. We can work with this energy. It makes sense to us. You know, they're kind of playing ball, if you like. So toward the end of the month, in spite of the craziness that could ensue with some of these unexpected events and surprise situations, you are kind of looking at things directly and knowing where you stand and sort of what that next step needs to be, right? So striving for better is kind of the overall vibe I get for you throughout the month of April as this temperature keeps rising in the room. You got to go for what you want in this life, right? So the last three cards we cover in our extended reading, Cancer. If you're new to the channel, you'll find that in the comment and description box beneath. We'll talk for another 30 minutes, look at a personal card and a relationship card for you in addition. So I hope you'll join me. I'm just going to go ahead and clarify these now and see the direction we'll take this reading in. So we're bringing through Two of Pentacles, Three of Pentacles, good. Okay, Seven of Wands, Page of Swords, Ten of Pentacles, Nine of Wands. All the decks I use are always listed below. You can find my sacred titles, the deck and book, along with my sacred soul support this month. I've created journeys to elevate your prosperity consciousness, and also working with the asteroid goddess Juno. So please check these out over on the website, romywiser.com. Ace of Swords, love that coming through for you. Four of Swords, Three of Swords, okay. You're not defined by the losses, is one thing I want to remind you of for the month of April, okay? Let's have a look at Life Soul Vision Oracle now, see what wants to come through. This is my own deck if you're new to the channel, okay? We've got Casting Out Constellations. This is the way, this is the work. We've got Energy Conversations. We've got Sacred Soul Union. Nourish Your Inner Wealth. Portals of Possibility. Soothe Your Soul. Okay, just have a look at a couple of oracle cards for Cancer for April. We have Opening Heart, Deep Connections, Water Blessings. Love that for you. And an astrology card for April. We'll look at these messages in more depth in the extended reading, Cancer. We've got Trine, Sextile, beautiful. Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy the journey, enjoy the ride of April, and I look forward to connecting with you again next month. You take good care.